A typical working day as a writer for me is I try and get as many emergency vehicles as possible circling my house. In my philosophy, I would consider myself a playwright at BYU, although at that time I really wasn't published or anything, but I was writing, so I consider writers to be just that, writers, whether they're produced or published or have shows on stage. So I was certainly getting into my stride as a writer. I was, you're away from home, you're on your own, you can say whatever you want to say, except oddly I was at a place where you couldn't say everything you wanted to say, which I actually found very, maybe I'm looking back on it, but, of course I'm looking back on it, but through those, rose-colored tinted prisms of whatever, I look back and I think that was actually helpful, because not being able to say whatever you wanted to say, because of the nature of being a religious institution, it forced me to be more clever, to try and do things that went right up to the line or just crossed over, and see what they think about that. A naughty child. I was the naughty child of playwriting, and I've continued to do some of that. So it serves me, well, because not just to get a spanking, which I'm always up for. It's for the notion of how far can we go. I believe we can go wherever we want to go. I think you can say whatever you want to say. It's part of it comes back to how well you say it, but part of it is also just the adventure of what else is out there, where haven't we gone. I think that's the responsibility of writers, is to take us to places we haven't gone, and especially if they deal with material that if you write about relationships, you write about whatever, so many people have written about them before, you better have something new to say. It's a great experience. It's one of the reasons I'm here at Primary Stages, is because I enjoy, for so many years I was a student, and then for a number of years I was also a teacher. I taught at the university level, and liked it a great deal. The connection to students and being a student for a long time, I always found that educational component really compelling. And so I go and do the equivalent of that, either teach for a semester or for a week or come in for 2 hours or whatever chance I get. That old cliche of when I'm teaching, I'm learning. It forces me, because you have fresh minds and new ideas. And recently I was in Amsterdam working with some students who were each doing a scene from one of my plays. And I saw a student, and I've seen, for instance, this was The Shape of Things that this kid was doing. And I've seen I don't know how many productions of that and worked on them myself. I did the movie version of the play. And he brought up an idea that I'd never thought of, never heard of. And here's this little kid who I was thinking, damn, I'm gonna have to steal this eventually from you. It's that good. And that's the beauty of being in that situation of minds being able to just kind of work for the purity of it, not pushing toward product all the time. Like, we have to get the show on stage. We have people who are buying tickets. It's all about just the education of doing it. What's strange is having people have expectations of you. You had that thought, so because you had it, you must condone it, or it's who you are. And that's just such a real simple kind of, not shallow, but just wrong take on things. It's just, you have to be able to think of all kinds of people's thoughts to create more than one person on the stage. So it's weird that your job creates expectations, where that people read something and, or it's the kind of writing that you do. That, I don't have expectations of George Lucas from Star Wars, and yet somebody else who's written something, I might have expectations. And I don't know why that is. I don't have expectations of my plumber. I don't give a shit about my plumber, other than that he knows about shit. You know what I mean? That if he's a good plumber, that's really all I care about. I don't go, gee, you're much nicer than I thought you would be. The work should speak for itself, and the more I say about it, the more I diminish it. And so I've gotten to a point where I hope that everything I wanted to say was on the page. Can I describe my writing style in one sentence? Sturdy construction, away with dialogue, and endless curiosity, and a willingness to go wherever the material takes me.